Artist and researcher at Kairus, Andreas Zingerle, are the art of trickery, social engineering, and internet scammers.
So, can everyone hear me? Hello and welcome to my talk, The Art of Trickery, Social Engineering, Internet Scammers. My name is Andreas Zingerle and I'm sorry that I cannot be with you today, but I hope that I can answer some of your questions after the talk over Skype. In 2010, I co-founded the Kairus Art and Research Lab. Over the last years, we have been researching internet fraud and vigilante anti-scam activists. Our practice-based research is closely intertwined with the artistic production. Besides the artworks, we publish academic research papers related to our projects, and through workshops, we contextualize our quite focused research topics of the artworks to a wider discourses like data privacy, activism, hacking culture, the ethics of vigilante online communities, and disruptive art practices. There are online communities of so-called scambaiters who fight back against online criminals. This online vigilante community investigates scam emails and implements social engineering techniques to document, report, or warn potential victims. Scambaiters are anti-fraud activists who often use similar tactics as scammers. For example, they use social engineering methods to uncover the practices of internet scammers. Scambaiters have their own personal motivations to justify their actions. Their motives can range from community service and status elevation to revenge for being a victim of a similar scam in the past. Recent publications that address scambaiting communities mainly focus on how scambaiters humiliate scammers, like you can see also in the photo, posting ridiculous photos of them on online forums and putting them on a virtual pillory, humiliating them. In the research, we found that the strategies to fight online fraud go beyond this public shaming. Over the last years, we followed these communities and created several media art installations that show the activist methods of scambaiting communities. In my presentation, I want to highlight 3 of those artistic case studies. The first artistic case study is called Password and is a 6-channel video installation revealing popular email passwords used by internet scammers. Inbox divers, which is a subgroup of the vigilante scambaiting community, try to jam the scammers' working practice by using storytelling and social engineering techniques as psychological manipulation to gain the trust of the scammer. By collecting and combining apparently non-relevant information, they try to obtain sensitive data to be able to gain access to the scammer's emails passwords. Once access to the scammer's emails account is established, the hijacked account is searched for victims, for forged documents, for credit card numbers, gang communication, or other sensitive information. The passwords in the artwork are collected from an anti-scam community database. I want to present now 3 methods that this scambaiting community uses. The first one is called the fake form elicitation. Scambaiters often use self-made documents to gather additional information about the scammers. During this ongoing correspondence and fictional narrative between the scambaiter and the scambaiter claims to need some forms to be filled out in order to continue the unfolding business preparations. These forms often resemble existing businesses like local banks, money transfer companies, or forms that follow governmental application procedures. Besides asking for personal information like full name, address, phone numbers, they also request official documents to validate the scammer's identity And these questionnaires on these forms can also include email security questions that are then used to reset a password and to gain access to the scammer's emails account. Another attempt is to use a phishing technique where the scambaiter claims to wire all the requested money information straight to the scammer's emails account through a fake website that you can see in the projection also. The scammer has to log in to their email account in order to use the money transfer service. The scammer never really collects any money, and he receives an error message that the service is not working in his country. But they have already shared the password of the email account with the scambaiter. Similar to a successful phishing attempt, this social engineering tactic lures the scammer to a fake website to disclose sensitive information. Still, this method differs from a phishing attempt, since a trustworthy connection between the scammer and the scambaiter is already built up through the email correspondence. Additionally, the scammer uses the phishing attack for a financial gain, which the scambaiter is not doing. The scammer also has the feeling of superiority, since the blue-eyed victim, the scambaiter, seems to believe the story and is wiring him money. The third method, a scambaiter offers a free web service to the scammer. It is specifically advertised as a trusted and reliable infrastructure that scammers can use for their businesses. The scambaiter sends out bulk emails in order to attract the interest of scammers to sign up for the service. In one format, he imposes a fellow scammer who writes in Pidgin English, which is a simplified version of the English language, and shares a good tip to use a reliable bulk mailing service. The email reads like this: "Brother, I found this mailer is very good for bulk. I throw more 600 recipient. Mail gonna inbox 100%. Good. You make one too." In order to use the web service, the scammer has to follow a link to a registration page. During the application process, the scammer has to provide several alternative email addresses and a selection of passwords. Scammers who use several fake identities often use the same or very similar passwords for their email accounts. Once the scammer logs in to the new generated account, it provides access to a fully functional web mail client that enables them to change the sender's name, the reply to headers, and so on. It also gives the look and feel that it's possible to use the webmail service for bulk mailing. As soon as the scammer tries to use the service for fraudulent bulk mailing, it becomes clear evidence that the person tries to scam people. By using several features that are provided by the mail transfer agent, every email message coming from one of those mail accounts is piped through an automated software that will store the message details, like the date, from, reply to, subject, and body text in a database. In the database, also the email addresses, the passwords, along with the name, the desired username, the IP address, the location, and all alternative email addresses are saved. This database is then shared amongst the Scambaiting community, who shares the workload to then dive into the inboxes of the scammers and monitor their actions. To visualize this database and these passwords, we used 6 video screens. Each shows an animated loop of one of these stars. The screens are hung next to each other and form like a 6-letter password combination. When you get closer to the artwork, then you see small typographic password combinations within each star. And each star represents one of the passphrases and these combinations. So there's good, love, money, mother, Jesus, and bless, which is most often used by scammers who fall for this phishing web service attack. The second artistic case study is called Megacorp. Megacorp is a corporate conglomerate inspired by its equally powerful counterparts in science fiction. The artwork is based on a collection of fake websites that we scraped from the internet. These companies exist only virtually and are used by cybercriminals for phishing attacks and to support their scam stories. The Megacorp exists therefore as an umbrella company for subsidiary companies that are 100% fraudulent dummy corporations. The Megacorp operates on a global scale and is constantly growing, with companies represented in almost every branch of the industry. Based on the database Artists Against 419, which is the biggest open access database hosted by another vigilante community who detects and reports these fraudulent businesses to law enforcement and to hosting providers. We visited this database on a daily basis and automatically downloaded websites with a site scraping tool. The scraped websites were analyzed and categorized according to the business segment, the street addresses, the colors that are used for the web design, the registered city and country. We tried to gather 1,000 companies, group them, and further analyze them. The subsidiary companies cover domestic and international export, real estate agents, insurance companies, law firms, security companies, banks, educational institutions, hospitals, online commerce, economic communities, and ministries. To visualize the gathered data and to tell a compelling narrative about this fraudulent business conglomerate, we decided to reenact a business corporate presentation in form of a fair booth. So in the gallery, as you see on the photo, we reenacted this fair booth. To achieve this, we highlighted the main parts of the data visualizations on roll-up posters, and we also presented main core functions of the Megacorp business in form of an interim report and different other company visuals. Since we created the Megacorp within a year, we decided to present all the gathered material in this interim report that you can download also. And we created corporate image showreel to give a fast overview of the main business segments and the global outreach. Another video showed some of the company's websites and our attempt to visit the addresses where the companies claim to have their headquarters and see what kind of companies are actually registered there. Here I can show a short video snippet from this video. third and last artistic case study that I want to present today is the Behind the Smart World Research Lab. During an artist in residency in Ghana, in West Africa, we read several articles that claimed that criminals are wading through hard drives and second-hand electronics in order to extract data from the pre-owners. Since a lot of electronic equipment is getting recycled, sometimes illegally, in West Africa, we thought that there might also be a lot of gadgets and hard drives from Western culture that arrives there. So what we did, or we thought that it acts like a social engineering method of dumpster diving, which is the practice of sifting through commercial or residential trash to find items that have been discarded by their owners, but which may be useful to the dumpster diver.
Recycling West Africa style. Consumer electronics smashed, sorted, and the valuable metals extracted. This is Agbogloshi, Accra, where technology goes to die.
For years now, we've been exporting most of our dirty industries overseas. And now it seems we're doing the same with the most dangerous junk that's left over from our consumer goods.
Environmentalists say this is the most toxic place on Earth. All types of electronic equipment, including computers, TVs and freezers, are dismantled by young men and children.
There are international laws banning the export of electronic waste, but they can be sidestepped by labelling shipments usable second-hand goods.
Classified secret US government property. And this will probably contain confidential information from the United States.
In Ghana, it's the dirty little secret of the high-tech industry. Do you know who has access to your recycled hard drive?
If somebody gets your hard drive, he can get every information about you.
On this photo, you see my partner Linda Kronman, who is looking in one of the areas for the discarded hard drives. And here you see me with one of our guides talking to recyclers who are just extracting different materials, batteries, accus, hard drives from laptops. We ended up buying 22 hard drives as a sample probe. They ranged between 600 and 16 gigabytes, cost around 2 to 4 euros, and yeah, were in different conditions. Back in Austria, we then started the Behind the Smart World Research Lab and thought also of the artistic practice of found footage and media archaeology, where artists gather their source material from second-hand stores, from garage sales, flea markets, and dumpsters in order to reassemble this material and use it for their artistic production. Our questions were, is there still data on the hard drives? Can we recover data? And what do we have to consider when we use this data as found footage? With these questions, we started a symposium where we invited, on the one hand, 10 international artists to participate in, and we also invited experts from data forensics, from a company that helped us to recover the data, and from the Tactical Tech Collective in Berlin that talked about data brokers. Over a weekend, we started an art lab where people started to look at the data, experiment with it. Each of the invited artists had a different background, so they came from video, from installation, from sound, from performance, and they all tried with their background knowledge to work with this data and to use it. One output of this art lab, this research lab, was an exhibition that we then created this year in May in Linz during the Art Meets Radical Openness Festival, where we exhibited the artworks of the artists, but also in more general artworks that deal with electronic waste, that deal with data breaches. Here I want to show a short clip from a presentation of the research lab, including 7 works by international artists at this year's Ars Electronica Festival in Linz, Austria. Most of the artworks were dealing with the hard drives and the data on them, or were related to e-waste in a global context. Here we see the work Recycling Yantra by Raphael Perret. He followed recycling routes to India and interviewed recyclers about their business practice and created the mandala made out of e-waste that you see here in the lower right corner. The work of my partner Linda Kronman and me is called Forensic Fantasies and consists of a package addressed to the pre-owner, a photo album where people can browse through the photos we found on a hard drive, and a third work dealing with identity theft in Roman scams that we also found traces on in one of the hard drives. Martin Reiche created a work called Shell Performance, where he focuses on the metadata of files from the hard drives. There were 2 videos, one called Head Crash, dealing with the loss of information due to physical damage, and another work called Shopimation, displaying the browser cache and showing the thumbnails of desire that the pre-owner was online shopping for. Another work was a collaborative mapping called Mapping the Smart World, which is a world map of the life cycle of consumer electronics. We mapped mining areas, production facilities, trade routes, and dumping grounds. This was done to show the global influence of network technologies to our daily lives and also opened up future areas of our research. We also collected in a book different artistic positions that deal with the saving, deleting, and the resurfacing of data. So our artistic research practice and also the ones by other artists can be found in this book. I wanted to thank you all for your attention. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this conference. I hope we can still talk a bit over Skype and answer some questions. And else I would be really happy to correspond with you over email. Thank you very much.